So the graph might be a little off for the hill country, but still got a good bit of rain left for portions of the coastal plains, including Cameron, getting possibly an additional inch of rain on top of what they might have already had. So until 6 this morning, that's our weather impact alert period. Large hail as well as heavy rain, and maybe even some strong winds are associated with that as well. But I'm kind of leaning more toward the heavy rain threat as of late. So make sure you continue to have a way to get all of those alerts overnight, and make sure your cars are protected, especially if you spent over $100,000 to $200,000 on them. But as we go hour by hour, this is by the time we get to 5 a.m., everything should start to simmer down for the hill country, and the coastal plains will be watching closely for some of that heaviest rainfall. By the time we get to 7 a.m., could have a few isolated, widely scattered showers before we dry out for your Saturday afternoon, and temperatures only get to those low to mid 60s. But then as we head through your Sunday morning, look at this, getting all the way down to the upper 30s and lower 40s, and it could feel even chillier than that. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. But the Statesman Cat 10K race is on Sunday, and we'll be 30 miles an hour. Little second to load there. And those wind chills are not an exaggeration. Hello, everyone. Meteorologist ordinary temperature. We just got even at or below freezing for feels like temperatures. Pretty entertaining when you have a nice co-anchor filling in for Darren. You like Hannah Rucker in the middle of April. That's just me and my personal opinion. Finally show up for next week. We do have an area of high pressure filling in from the west, and that great anchor I've had the pleasure of working with the past 3 years. But it's always good Wednesday and Thursday. Right now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the forecast, because by the time we get to your Thursday afternoon, so it's actually much cooler than what it should be for this time of year, and it has this meteorologist really annoyed. So let's go ahead. Hello, everyone. Meteorologist everything down here for you as we take a look outside. That is the Lake Austin 5 on the 360 loop off near so let's go ahead and break that down for you. As well as the Austin it is for areas along right there west of I-35. So the whole hill country. Take a look at our almanac. Today we got to the low to mid 60s as well as places like Georgetown and San Marcos, and that's going to be until our average high of 78 this morning. And not even remotely close to our record high of 96. We haven't really seen much of that but another thing I'm starting to watch is some of the heaviest rain that has fallen in areas that we've needed it. Now down to be real here. But not still, is it chilly? Quite a bit of heavy rain. Quite windy as well. Some areas are getting gusts close to 30 miles an hour, like County, just 29 miles an hour. An area where we really need a lot of that rain to really help our lake levels, depending on how much the wind gusts soil is and dry, the white numbers are the sustained winds. So by and large, we're looking at Gillespie County seeing some of the heaviest rain, and as of the latest radar looks, we can see another batch of rain within the hour make its way into Gillespie County, creating some of that training of those thunderstorms. As well as Fredericksburg. The graph might be a little off for the hill country, gives you an idea still got a good bit of rain left right now. And not only that, plains, including we have Cameron, a few light showers over portions of Mason County on top of what they might have already had. So, we have been mostly dry for this morning. That's our weather impact alert earlier this morning. Large hail, a lot of areas in the hill country got absolutely drenched, associated with that as well. Especially Gillespie County, more toward the heavy rain threat as of late. So make sure inches of rain in some spots, have a way to get all those alerts overnight and make sure your cars are protected, especially if you spent over $100,000 to $200,000 right here along 290. And we had some pockets by the time we get to 5 areas that did get close start to simmer down for the hill country, and the coastal plains will be watching closely for some of that heaviest rainfall. It's going to remain to be seen what this would mean for our Highland Lakes, but with the exceptional drought, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that soil soaks all of it up. But then as we head through your Sunday morning, look at this, getting all the way down Lake to the upper 30s also and got a good drink of rain as well. Even chillier just south of there got around an inch of rain in the Tau area got almost on Sunday of it, and we'll be getting to those mid 40s. Look at the I-35 lows and Austin Metro wind factored in, 30 miles an hour. To speak of only around a quarter of an inch. Those wind chills are not an exaggeration, folks. So upper 30s for feels like temperatures. Metro could use quite a bit of that rain as well. Not for feels like temperatures out in the hill country. And the reason we stress the hill country is because that's our Highland Lakes, and the Highland Lakes. But we are going to have April finally show up for next week. We do have an area of high pressure building in from the west. That's why we really need all that rain in the Highland Lakes to really help fill Lake Travis, to really help Austin's water supply get to where it needs to be, as well as the surrounding areas. By the time we get to your Thursday afternoon, so a Count has oak and grass in the high. is on
Ash
tap.
and cedar are in the medium, and mold is in the low, and you can find us allergy count each and every day on
Hello everyone,
KVU.com
meteorologist Jordan
and the KVU app.
Darisberg here, and we're still
As we
continuing
go hour
to track
by hour
that
through
severe
early
thunderstorm
tomorrow
watch
morning.
that is in effect
Models have
until
kind of
5
been less
on your
cold
Saturday
than previous
morning.
runs,
So
which
let's
is
go ahead
somewhat
and
good
break
news
that
on my
down
end
for you,
because we
is
are
for areas
getting
along
down to those low
and
to mid
west
40s, no
of
matter how you slice it.
I-35, so
And
the
oh, by the
whole
way,
hill country,
upper
as
30
well
is
as the
still
Austin
possible for
metro,
southern sections of the
as
hill
well
country.
as places like
But then we
Georgetown
can warm up
and
quite
San
nicely.
Marcos.
We could be getting to the
and
upper
that's going to be
50s,
until
lower
5
60s
this
in some
morning
areas
for
along
large
and
hail
southeast
and
of
strong winds.
I-35.
However, we haven't really seen much of that.
Checking in at
But
63
another thing
according to
I'm
this latest
starting to
model
watch is some of the heaviest rain
areas,
that has
especially our
fallen
northern
in
zones
areas that we've
and
needed
portions
it.
of the hill
Let's
country that
be
may
real
not
here,
even get out
but
of the
still
50s, which is
quite a bit of heavy rain.
absolutely
Look at that,
unadmirable.
2 inches.
While we're on the subject
right
of
there in
unadmirable,
Gillespie County, just
unadmirable
south of
team
290,
from just north of
an area
Chicago
where we really
is
need a lot
visiting
of
the
that rain
HEB
to
Center
really
tonight
help
to
our
take on
lake
our
levels,
Texas Stars.
depending on how
Puck
much
drops in about
of the
15
soil
minutes,
is dry,
and we are expecting to stay in those mid-50s. But by the time the game comes to an end, we should be getting down to those upper 40s. But as we take a look at the Captain K tomorrow,
within
the
the
one and
hour,
only Mr.
make
Chief
its way
Meteorologist Hunter
into
Williams is
Gillespie
serving
County,
as
creating
our
some of that
MC,
training of
and
those
we're looking at
thunderstorms. So
mid-40s for race time with the feels-like temperature. And if you are not a fan of these temperatures, feel free to cringe because look at that. That is mid to upper 30s, which is what it will feel like on your body tomorrow morning.
That's a weather impact alert
period. Winds,
large
which
hail
could gust
as well
up to
as
30
heavy
miles
rain,
an
and
hour.
maybe some strong winds are associated with that as well.
Portions of the hill country, though,
toward the
I
heavy
really
rain
do not
as
envy
of
y'all,
late. So
because y'all could be feeling like a light freeze. Keyword, feeling like that does not mean y'all will actually get a light freeze. In fact, there is a freeze watch, but it's just off to the north and west of our KVU area. None of our KVU counties are included. So
the hill country and
we're
the
not going to necessarily get below freezing in the hill country. You may have an outside child in places like Mason and Gillespie counties, but by and large, we're expecting to stay at least in the upper 30s, if not the lower 40s.
But then as we head
of a
through
silver
your
lining
Sunday
on that
morning,
particular
look at this, getting all the way
an
down
even better silver
to the upper
lining
30s
is
and lower
we've
40s,
got warmer
and it
air
feel
back
even
in the
chillier
forecast,
than that.
but it's drier air as well, so we don't really get a whole lot of that extra rain that we really need to get out of this drought. But hey, high pressure bringing in warm area is always going to be a plus, especially by the time we get to Thursday. And highs getting to the mid-80s. I meant to say warm air, not warm area. I kind of got temperatures, warm air coming into our area, below mixed up a little bit. But temperatures by and large, we are going to be again in the mid-80s by the time we get to next week. Upper 60s Monday, we gradually warm up as we go through the upcoming week.
So we do have an area of high pressure building in from the west, and that
not a whole lot going
allow for a
as far as rain is concerned. We did get quite a bit of rain last night,
getting to the
mid-80s. Thankfully, we don't really have any significant issues to speak of
spring-like
here in Central Texas for tonight from a rain or storm or hail standpoint. I'm just focused on
hello everyone, meteorologist Jordan Darisberg here, and we're still continuing to track that severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect until 5 on your Saturday morning. So let's go ahead and break that down for you.
To each
it
their
is
own.
For areas along
and I'm saying
west
I'm not a fan of this because this is Texas and it should be much warmer
as well as
this.
the Austin metro, as well as places like Georgetown and San Marcos, and that's going to be until
have a whole lot in terms of
questions
right
for
now.
Large hail and strong winds. However, we haven't really seen much of that. But another thing I'm starting to watch is some of the heaviest rain that has fallen in areas that we've needed it.
Go ahead and
be real here,
but
still quite a bit of heavy rain. Look at that,
kind of
2
take the boxes
inches
here.
right there in Gillespie County, just south of 290, an area where we really need a lot of that rain to really help our lake levels, depending on how much of the soil is dry, how much runoff this will allow.
That looks like our bullseye for some of the heaviest rain.
Seeing some of the heaviest rain, and as the latest radar looks,
because they are in an exceptional
another batch
level
of
drought
rain within the hour.
Look at that,
make its way into Gillespie County, creating some of that training of those thunderstorms. So
west of Fredericksburg.
The graph might be a little off for the hill country, but still got a good bit of rain left for portions of the coastal plains, including Cameron, getting possibly an additional inch of rain on top of what they might have already had. So
it's right
until
in
6
here
this morning,
along
that's a
Highway
weather impact
16
alert
points
period.
to the east.
Large hail as well as heavy
That's
rain, and
that
maybe even some
crabapple
strong
fire
winds are
burn
associated with that
area.
as well.
So
but I'm kind of leaning more
areas
toward
that
the
were
heavy
affected by
rain
the
threat as
crabapple
of late.
fire,
So
they
make
got a
sure
good drink of
you
rain as
continue
well.
to have a
Look,
way
a little
to get
over
all
an
those
inch of
alerts
rain to
overnight
really
and
help
make sure your
the
cars are
vegetation
protected,
and the soils
especially
in
if you
those
spent
areas.
over $100,000 to $200,000
Let's
on
take
them.
it up here.
But as we go hour by hour, this is by the time we get to 5 a.m.
Llano
Everything
County, because
should
some areas
start
near
to simmer
Llano
down
got around an
for the hill
inch.
country
Let's
and
see
the
if we
coastal
have
plains. We'll be watching closely
an estimate
for some
near
of that heaviest
Kingsland of
rainfall.
over an
By the
inch,
time we get to
and
7
it
a.m.,
looks like
could
we've
have
got
a
an inch
few
and a half
isolated, widely scattered showers
just west of
before we
Kingsland,
dry
and
out
there
for
you
your
see
Saturday
the
afternoon. The
3/4
temperatures
of
only
an
get
inch
to
just
those
south
low
of
to
Tao,
mid
like I
60s.
just showed y'all.
But then as we head
And it
through
looks like some
your
of the
Sunday
heavier
morning, look at this,
rainfall
getting all the
totals,
way down
according to the
upper
LCRA, look to
30s
be
and
in
lower 40s,
southern
and it could feel
sections
even
of Llano County
chillier
because,
than
of
that.
course,
We'll
the
talk more about
bullseye
that in a
right there in
moment. But the
Gillespie County,
Statesman
but then
Cap 10K
Mason
races
kind of
on
left
Sunday, and
somewhat
we'll be
off the
getting
board.
to those
There is a
mid-40s only.
isolated
for lows,
9/10
and with
of an
that
inch
wind
there
factored
in
around
southeastern
30
Mason
miles an
County.
hour. Yep.
But then
Those wind chills are not an exaggeration,
also
folks.
got
Upper 30s for feels like temperatures, and maybe
Blanco
even
County,
at or
y'all
below
kind of got
freezing
shut
for
out the
feels
board.
like
There was
temperatures
about a
out
half
in
an
the hill
inch
country, and it's kind
near
of wild that I'm
according to
saying
the
this
LCRA
in
gauge,
the middle
and
of
the
April.
heaviest it looks like
But we
y'all
are going to
got
have April
3/4
finally
of an
show
inch
up for
for
next
y'all,
week. We do have an area of high
but
pressure building in from the west.
Marble Falls
and that
area
is
looks like
going
you guys
to
got
allow
around a half
for
an inch
a
of
warm
rain
up as we head into your Wednesday
for you,
and Thursday,
but
getting to the
by and
mid-80s
large,
by the time we get to your Thursday
outside of
afternoon.
Gillespie
So
County,
a
not really
present
much to speak of. So we
spring-like
could
weekend
use a
is
lot
on
more
tap.
widespread heavier rain to really help our drought situation.
Hello, everyone.
Now,
Meteorologist Jordan Darisburg here, and we're still continuing to track
this is
that
very
severe thunderstorm
important
watch
note.
that is in effect
A
until
lot of the climate
5
data
on
now
your
shows
Saturday
that we're
morning.
headed more
So
toward
let's
what's
go
known
ahead
as
and break
INSO
that
neutral
down
conditions,
for you.
which
It is
means
for
we're
areas
not going
along
to be in El
and
Nino,
west of
but we're
I-35,
not going
so
to be
the
in a
whole
La
hill
Nina
country,
either. So
as
the
well
La
as the
Nina
Austin
is
Metro,
slowly fading
as
away.
well as
That's
places
what created
like
this drought.
Georgetown
We were in a
and
La
San
Nina pattern,
Marcos,
which means
and that's
usually
going to be
hotter
until
and drier
5
than
this
normal
morning
here in Central
for
Texas.
large
But
hail and strong winds.
INSO
However, we
neutral
haven't really
conditions. It's
seen
not going
much
to
of that.
totally wipe out the drought, but it's
Another
only going
thing
to do it
I'm starting to
little
watch
by
is some of the
little by
heaviest
little,
rain
because
that has
INSO
fallen
neutral
in areas
means
that we've
average,
needed it. Let's
but
be real here, but
again,
still quite a bit of
there's
heavy rain. Look at that, 2
hope
inches
on the horizon. By the way,
right
INSO
there in
is actually
Gillespie
short
County,
for
just south
El
of
Nino
290,
Southern
an area where we
Oscillation,
really need a lot of
we
that
look
rain to
at
really
that
help
to
our
determine
lake
whether
levels,
or not we're going to
depending
go
on
into
how
an El
much
Nino
of the
and
soil
a
is
La Nina
dry,
pattern. And
how
right
much
now,
runoff this will
INSO
allow.
neutral
But by
is
and
forecast
large,
for the
we're looking
summer
at Gillespie
and
County, seeing
fall.
some of the
So,
heaviest drought, and as the
good
latest
keynote
radar
there.
looks, we could see another batch of
that
rain
note,
within the
I will
hour
see y'all
make its
later
way
on
into
tonight
Gillespie
for
County, creating
KV
some of
News
that
at 10,
training of those
not
thunderstorms.
just
So
here on
the graph
KV.com
might
or
be a little
KV Plus
off for
if
the
you are
hill
streaming
country,
there.
but
KV Plus, by the
still
way,
got a good bit
you
of
can
rain
access it
left
on your
for portions
Fire
of the
Stick,
coastal plains,
your
including
Roku,
Cameron, getting
and your
possibly an
Apple
additional
TV. You
inch
can
of rain on
access
top of what they
all
might have
those
already had.
spots,
So
and you can have
until
the
6
latest
this
news
morning,
and
that's our weather
from
impact
there.
alert period.
You don't have to worry about
large
getting
hail
your
as
local
well as
news
heavy
from
rain, and maybe
anywhere
some
else
strong
but
winds are associated with that as well.
And also,
I'm kind of leaning more
KV.com.
toward the heavy
right
rain threat as of late. So make sure
we'll be
you continue to have a
after
way to
that
get all those
UFL
alerts
game,
overnight and
and
make
we're gonna
sure
have
your cars
all
are
the latest
protected,
on your forecast,
especially
as well
if you
as
spent
your
over
news
$100,000 to
headlines. So,
$200,000 on
thank
them.
y'all for joining.